Deer season is coming up fast around the country, and that means we've got a lot of work ahead of us. It's time to get those cameras out if we don't have them out all year, work on those fall food plots, scout for acorns, and start looking at stand locations. We put a lot of work, or should put a lot of work, into finding the right places to deer hunt. We try to find those places that just give us that gut feeling that a big mature deer is going to walk by at any moment. But just because we find a spot that has everything we're looking for, like deer beds, heavy browse, oaks that have a lot of acorns, and trails crisscrossing each other, worn down to bare dirt, that doesn't mean that those are great places to hunt. They may have the activity that we're looking for, but hunting them would be impossible. Actually, I should say hunting them smartly, is that a word? Hunting them correctly would be impossible. So in this video, we're gonna go over 3 of the worst deer hunting locations so you can make sure that your hunts are productive and you don't ruin the other spots you may wanna hunt in the future. But before we go over these terrible spots, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. Also, if you wanna help support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. Right now, there's only one level set at 99 cents a month, and I'm gonna be creating a members only Facebook group that you will then have access to. I'm also kicking around the idea of live streaming a hunt or two. I'm just trying to figure out what you all may want or may be of value to you, because if it's not something you want or have it or think has any value, then why would you want to spend 99 cents a month? I know it's only 99 cents, but it's still, I want you to feel like you're getting your money's worth. But if you don't want to commit to a monthly kind of subscription thing, you can also go over to informedoutdoors.com, get yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie. You can do a one-time donation. You can tell me that the t-shirt designs suck, and why would you ever buy that? Anything helps. And with the shameless self-promotion out of the way, the first terrible hunting spot that you need to avoid are steep draws, valleys, and bowls. These stand locations are some of the hardest to avoid because you do tend to find some very good sign down in these bottoms and valleys. But the problem with them is that the wind is very unpredictable. The topography makes the wind swirl so badly that it doesn't matter what the wind direction is or how bulletproof you think your scent control routine is, you are gonna get busted. There is a reason why deer like these areas so much, and you might get lucky with some young deer in there that if you've got a good scent control routine, they can kind of tell something's off, or maybe you just fool those young deer enough, but a deer that's been around a long time kind of knows what's up. Deer can lay in these areas and get an almost 360-degree scent check at any time the wind blows. You may think your scent is blowing off to the right, away from where you expect the deer to come from, but what you don't realize is maybe just 50 yards or maybe even less than that down to the right, it's swirling back around and coming back in front of you, and you don't know how many deer you've alerted. And just because you don't hear a deer blow does not mean that they aren't alerted. They may just quietly slip out and you never knew they were there. And you don't want to just ignore these areas altogether just because of that whole topography issue, because there is a lot of good sign there. A better option is to find the trails that lead in and out of them and hunt, kind of up on a ridgetop somewhere where the wind is more predictable and in your favor. You don't want to go right to the middle of these areas unless you're desperate. It's the end of the season and you just want to fill a tag. Your approaches to your hunting area should always be to have a more outside-in approach. Stay on the outside edges, and then if you have to make moves, you got to move closer, just slowly work your way in. Again, unless you're desperate, don't just go barreling right into the middle of the activity, because you're going to ruin that whole sign altogether. This is a much safer way to hunt, but it takes patience, and that's something that a lot of us don't have much of. And so the second terrible hunting spot is kind of a stretch, so just hear me out, and it's right on the edge of your food plots. Like I said, just hear me out. I know that food plots are a great place to hunt. I mean, it's why we plant them. They're a great hunting season attraction, but there are typically 2 problems you'll find with hunting over your food plots. And the first is when you stick your stand like right on immediately on the edge of the food plot. Every little movement you make is exposed when you are right on the edge of your food plot, probably sticking out over it. A good spot to hunt, a place that has good cover, is something that's got a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. And when you hunt right on the edge, you completely remove that foreground, and you might as well have a giant light bulb, a giant sign pointing to you that says, "I'm a hunter, don't come here." A better place to hang your stand if you still want to hunt over your food plot is to tuck it back in the tree line a little bit farther. This gives you that cover in front of you, and depending on the time of the year, some shadows if those trees still have plenty of leaf cover on them. And the other reason why I think that hunting right on top of your food plots can be a terrible place to hunt is that people tend to overhunt them. them. I know we spend a lot of time and money cultivating them, and I'm sure there are tons of pictures of deer out there using it, but overhunting a spot, any spot, not just over your food plots, is a terrible idea. And those food plots tend to give you a false sense of confidence that you're gonna see deer every time. And you might see decent deer out there almost every time you hunt, but the more you hunt it, the less likely you are to see those deer out in there during daylight hours. There's always that chance that you're going to leave some scent behind, that you're going to bump deer in and out of it, and they're going to start associating you with that food plot, and then you're only going to see them at night. And so another way that you can hunt your food plots without being right over top of them is to find the trails leading in and out of them and hunt over those. That way you are still taking advantage of the attraction they provide, but you don't risk overhunting them because you have multiple ways you can take advantage of it. And the third terrible hunting spot is any spot that you can't get to undetected. A great stand location with lots of deer sign is no good if you can't get there without alerting deer every time you show up to hunt it. So anytime you find a spot that you think you want to hunt, think about how you're going to be able to get to and from it quietly and without being seen. You need to be able to use the topography to your advantage. You need to be away from known bedding areas, and you need to be able to keep the scent in your face, or at least away from where you think the deer are going to be. So if there's no way to get there stealthily, then you need to do the hard thing and find another spot. I'm sure there is a spot somewhere else to where you can still take advantage of the sign that's in the area, but is in a more advantageous spot for you. And also work on your woodsmanship skills. Learn how to walk more quietly in the woods. Get better at reading deer sign.
Scat. Scat. There's an animal nearby.
Hey, Schmidt, that's a raisin, man.
It's not a raisin. It's a scat.
Okay.
Ha! That's poop for sure.
And learn how your scent travels. This will help you in every aspect of your hunting, not just picking stand locations and not just with hunting deer. So that was 3 terrible stand locations that you need to avoid. And if you like this video, chances are you're gonna like one of these videos over here, so give them a watch. So let us know your experiences in hunting these bad hunting locations and how they worked out. Sometimes you can get lucky, but I prefer not to rely entirely on my luck for my hunting.
A real man makes his own luck. Billy Zane, Titanic.
Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.